Welcome back. For some people, it may be known as a cabin filter, while others may refer to it as a pollen filter. Regardless of what you call it, if you're not keeping it clean, you're asking for trouble. For all the details, I'm joined by Cliff Hudson of Hudson's Import Service. What is this, Cliff?
I've heard of a blue screen, but this is ridiculous.
What is this?
You know, you've seen that in your wall at the house.
Yes, as a matter of fact,
your husband or wife always fusses at you. Will you change that thing?
Once a month I change that.
Really?
Yeah.
Man, you are awesome.
Hey, I like to keep energy efficiency in my house.
Can you get on the program at my house?
Oh.
Because I think I'm doing once a year or something like that.
Yeah,
oh,
but it's an air filter, right?
Hope my heating and air guy isn't listening. It's an air filter. Yeah, and you know, about 20 years ago, Dave, this technology hit the automobile. You know, first in the higher end luxury cars, and now it's widespread. It's almost everywhere. Call it cabin filter, call it pollen filter, but basically, here it is.
Yep.
We're gonna have a tight shot of this. Now, here is the exact same part number, about 20 or 30,000 miles later. Now, this has not been, you know, doctored up for TV. This is the actual filter right here after it's been in the car for a while. Now, this filter, basically,
when you say for a while, could you give me an estimate of how long that's been in a car?
That was taken out during a routine service. This filter in this particular model is expected to last 20,000 miles, and that's how long this filter was in. Now,
okay, so that's the recommended
interval. Now, what one has to bear in mind is recommended intervals are for the average driver.
Yeah.
Guy was in the shop the other day, last week in fact, I looked under his car, I said, you live on a dirt road. He said, yes,
wow.
And as a matter of fact, it's 3/4 of a mile long. So he's going to dirty this filter much faster than the average guy.
Which makes sense.
If you spent your entire life traveling behind a diesel truck, yeah, you're going to dirty this filter much more quickly.
One of the things this time of the year too, Cliff, is the pollen.
Exactly.
I mean, my car is no longer red, it's yellow.
Yeah, so is mine, at least temporarily.
Exactly.
Now, here is what we want to try to avoid. This is basically the worst of the worst.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah, twigs, pine
straw,
a leaf. Yeah. Now,
looks like some pet fur.
Here's
no wonder I'm sneezing.
Here's what happens. An operator of a car will come in and say, you know, there's almost no airflow out of my air conditioning anymore because all of it flows through this filter.
Okay.
So consequently, when it gets this dirty, no airflow.
Okay.
Now, we brought this. I want to get a shot of this right quick because this is not a dirty filter. This is actually an optional filter for a particular model car, and this is charcoal impregnated. And the charcoal does what, Dave?
Well, it would probably grab more particles out of the air than the
Eliminate
regular
odors.
filter.
It
takes out the odor, too.
I was depending on you for eliminate odors.
Oh, I was going a little farther than that. Ionization there or something.
The charcoal eliminates odors. So if you happen to be behind that diesel truck, the air you smell in the cabin is probably going to not have that weird kind of diesel
Or if
smell.
you would drive by a paper mill.
Exactly. There you go. Now, some cars actually have two. Some cars have a pre-filter, an inexpensive filter in front of a more expensive charcoal filter.
Okay.
So the charcoal filter enjoys a much longer life than the pre-filter does.
Exactly.
Now, we were talking before the show about how does one change this?
Right.
Well,
it looks relatively simple to me.
There's not a lot of rocket science here. Speaking of NASA
and Toyota,
there's not a lot of rocket science here, but this normally gets done on one of the routine services, generally around 15 or 20,000 miles. This filter is scheduled to be replaced.
Okay.
What happens is, as a car ages, those routine services kind of fall by the wayside.
Yeah, that's what you were saying, up around like 100,000 miles.
Yeah,
you just want an oil
people come in
change.
and say, how much is that 80 or 90,000 mile service? And, you know, it's like, well, say it's, you know, $500-600, and they go, whoa, man, let's just change the oil.
Yeah.
So things like this start getting missed, and then next thing you know, 150,000 miles shows up and the car is missed. Two big major services, and lots of things like this are in just a serious state of disrepair on the car.
And with the weather heating up, this is definitely something you want to service now because you're going to be using your AC a lot more with temperatures head up into the 80s. Cliff, how do we get a hold of you to get our air filter changed?
Right across the street. Hudson's Import, 884-2573. Been there 32 years, April 1.
And that's why you know Cliff's doing a good job. He wouldn't be in business if he wasn't. Cliff, good to see you. I always learn something.
Me too.
I'm supposed to be working, not learning. All right.
I'm having fun.
Good to see you, Cliff. Well, still to come on today's show, we're getting you ready for the first performance in the newly renovated Dock Street Theater with Spoleto Festival USA.